So the social issues of today are the consequences of this. The poor do not have enough jobs. There's many that are unemployed. I don't know how many millions are unemployed. Manaus, where I live, in the north, in the Amazon region, people come flooding in, the rural exodus, coming into the city, hoping to find jobs. Many of them don't find jobs. Small percentage would find jobs. But they're demanding so much because these factories are multinationals. They demand a working knowledge of the internet, you know, the whole cyber network of things, and our people hardly know how to read and write. So it's an unjust situation. It's an uneven playing field. So these are the social issues. They don't have jobs. They don't have, as a consequence, decent housing. They don't have transportation, collective transportation, popular. They don't have decent schools. The health conditions are very precarious for those who can't afford to pay a lawyer or pay a good doctor. So the federal housing, the federal health program is very insufficient for the increasing population. The big cities, 50 years ago, Brazil was 20% urban and 80% rural. Today, it's just the opposite. 80% urban and 20% rural. So these huge cities, Manaus, with a population of 200,000 about 40 years ago, and now is 2 million. The governments, for the best that they tried to keep up with this, they were unable to keep up with conditions, better living conditions for the poor. The Oblates are trying to respond as best we can, but I feel personally that we could do much more. I feel we're not articulated enough among ourselves and with the other social movements, with the other religious orders, with the archdiocese. We do try to participate in the meetings, but there's something missing. The problem is so great, and we're so few Oblates, and with limited financial resources, and most of us now are, feel weak and insufficient before this tremendous challenge. So hopefully we will get better, more vocations coming in. The Brazilian vocations are increasing. The foreign missionaries like myself, we are diminishing, we're getting older. This is pretty evident. And so we have three French Oblates in the Amazon, and two Americans. But we are all in our 70s or 80s, and it's more difficult to get the energy to go out and to, throw yourself into this apostolate, which I would love to do, but I feel many times that I just don't have that energy anymore. I want to have it, I pray for it, but sometimes I feel that I'm lacking in this energy. And even with the way to get into, how do you attack this problem, which is so great, how do you get traction on these huge problems, whatever they may be, education, health, housing, transportation, public transportation. So we are doing our best. We can do a lot more. Hopefully we'll have more vocations in the near future. We're working on this seriously. The younger Brazilian Oblates, priests, are seriously dedicated to the vocation work, which is very, very good. And we have quite a few young people asking more questions about the Oblates and interested in doing the kind of work, social work, but also with the social dimension of the gospel. The spirituality, we can't just renew structures to renew the church. We have to renew our spirituality, our biblical formation, ourselves, our own spirituality, personal spirituality, and try to communicate this by living our lives more in keeping with the gospel message. Simplicity, solidarity with these people, visiting, hearing their cries, going out to them with mercy, with kindness, with understanding, stretching out our hand as Jesus did to Peter when he was, fearful on the waters and he was going down, beginning to sink. Help me, Lord. That's what our prayer today is. Help me, Lord, to be an extended hand, to reach out to the poor, to be close to them, to not be afraid, and to overcome our own personal fears, insecurities, and to be able to go out and just be present to them, to love them, to point the way, even though we don't know exactly where it's going to lead, point the way to a better society, to a more just, fraternal, open, dialogical, servant church and Samaritan church, serving the people, especially those who are suffering the most. That's what we're trying to do. Pray with us that we may do it better in the future.